Our family, like yours, wants to spend time outside, and it's different for each family how much time you spend out here, but regardless if you have a small camper trailer or even a big RV, nothing really is meant to live inside. And so extending what we call our outdoor living space by using canopies, using instant up tents, it's really increased our enjoyment out here. And so that's what I'm going to share today. 2 new shelters that finally meet our needs. You've seen a lot of our videos talking about shelters that almost make it. Well, these ones are actually making the cut. I'm going to start off with this new tent, the Triple Ensuite from Joolca. But like everything else on here, as much as I love this, it still has issues, so I'll share that along the way. But I'm going to show you how quickly this sets up and just how amazing this is. Notice when I put this up, just like that ship in a bottle, everything is in its proper place. There's no closing mechanisms, no clips. The only thing I have to add is these 2 poles here. There's a number of things our family actually requires for a side entry tent. And the first one is we're usually getting to the site late. We need to throw this up quick or get out of inclement weather, so an instant setup is a must. The next one obviously is standing height. That's what we're going to need going in and out of the trailer, doing daily activities in there. And then the third one is 2 doors. And that is probably the most rare in tents, to find something that's instant up, standing height, and has 2 doors like this. You need 2 doors because one's going to get you in and out of the teardrop and the other will get you in and out of nature. And then the last one for me, and this is more of a bonus, I really like, and my family likes, tents that are built with some sort of ability to expand. So an awning that attaches to it, or an annex room, something that you can use this in a quick 30-second pop-up situation, or expand more into a 5-10 minute setup and really grow your space. And then I missed one, and that is the floor. For us, we like a tent that has no floor. And this actually has a floor, so later I'll talk about why I prefer no floor. So as the name states, this is a 3-room tent. Now, we often don't use it what it's designed for, but what it's designed to do is to be a bathroom, a changing room, and a shower room. One of our favorite side entry tents that many of you actually own is the Lightspeed tent. And just to give you an idea of these 3 rooms, the changing room in here alone is about the size of that tent. But it's more than just the 3 rooms that I love about this tent, it's the little details. But it's also some of those little details that they overlook that also drive me nuts. So we're gonna talk about them as well. Do you remember not long ago I asked you about how you deal with your guy lines, keeping them from getting tangled? How do you store them so you can get them out well? And you guys gave me a bunch of great tips. Well, Joolca not only thought about that, they actually did something about that. Are you ready for the magic? So simple. There is a pocket with some Velcro and your guy lines. You don't even need to roll them up or anything. I just stuff them up into a ball, I shove it in here, and they pull out perfectly straight every time. Just in case I didn't explain that well, these are on all 4 corners of the tent, so you have separate guy lines coming out in separate pockets. Let me quickly share with you those 3 rooms, and then I'll share with you those things I really love, those little details, and then the little details that I think they overlooked. This is the main room, obviously, where you're going to get out of your teardrop and straight into nature. So this works as a breezeway, but it's the changing room. There is a strap here that's going to hold towels. There's a couple pockets down here to hold extra things. I usually say I'm 5'11", but right now I have shoes on, I have a hat on, so I'm over 6 foot tall. And look at all this extra headroom. Look at all my arm room here. So I can put a camp chair in here, a couple camp chairs. Not a huge space, but if you've seen in our videos, enough to play cards, enough to get away from the bad weather. Next, it's onto the shower room. And we'll talk about those zippers in a bit. This room has 2 ports from the outside for bringing in your hose for your Joolca shower or any brand you have. It's Obviously about half the space of this other room, cut in half for these 2 rooms. Every one of these rooms have nice tiebacks here if you're not using it for what it's designed for. So like us, we often don't take showers on 3-day trips, or you know, we're wiping down with baby wipes. We do shower, but not every time we use this tent, we're using it for showering. So in essence, when you open up these 3 rooms, you really have a large living area. In here, you have multiple locations where your shower hose can come in from the outside. So there's a port here, there's a port over on this side that you can't see, and then once the shower goes in, there's these clips here to hold the hose in place so it gets nice and sturdy. And then they have this zipper too. I've never used it. I probably should read the manual, but I assume it's to hand things in. You know, you're private. You have this door shut. You don't want anyone in. You're like, oh, honey, I forgot. And then they hand it through. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll look it up in the manual. All right, test. Oh yeah.
It works.
Let's hit a couple of those amazing features quick. The first one is you can see all this is silver lined. So unlike other privacy tents that aren't that private because you can see your silhouette through it when you put the light in here, once these windows are up, you have nicely blocked out your silhouette, but above your head, you can still get airflow. So I can open this up while I'm showering, and unless somebody's climbing that tree up there and looking down, nobody's going to see in. And that's the other thing I love, ventilation everywhere in these. So in each room are windows that open, the doors fully open, and then in each one of these changing rooms, you have little vents. So I have to mention more pockets. You have pockets up here to hold some of your soap and things like that, or your headlamp. They have hooks up here for lights, and then more pockets down low. It's always nice to have pockets. Like they thought this thing out, so wherever you are, you have something, some sort of hook, another hook here, pockets back here, ways to reach out and grab things. That's the little details that I love. But what about size? Well, if I put this window up and I put my elbows out, I am touching here on the sides, but using the bathroom over there or the shower here, it's pretty spacious. I do touch it from time to time moving around. I've been in larger tents, but I think it's plenty of room to get the job done. And it's deep, so I can wash a baby in here with me or a child. There's room for 2 people. And then you have all this height above you. Just like in there, I have a ton of height, especially if I come up here. But near the back, I still have a bunch of headroom. Now, why I love an open floor concept is like this. You can see my cedar shavings from last time. I like to have a floor that lets the dirt just fall out, the natural things. And we pick up things that aren't natural and take them home. But cleaning this up every time you leave camp can be difficult. It can trap food, and to me, it's just one more thing that can rip. Over time, you're going to rip this out with your shoes if you have a rock under here, something you didn't locate. So that's an issue to me, but here's how they got around it. Here's what they're doing. It's a full cover except for the edges. The edges are meshing so you don't step on it, because that's kind of the issue with a lot of these. If they have a mesh bottom, you'll also break that over time. So they're on the edge, and that's where the water is supposed to drain. But what I find is the water still sits here. So they made this little grab tab here, and you pull this tab, and that's supposed to run the water off. It does, but there's still water catching in areas. You bring a towel, dry it out, because when you pack this down, you don't want any moisture in it, or you're going to get mildew and issues like that. So we use 2 buckets. We use this little bucket because it makes it so the filter can stay submerged. And then this bucket, we're surprised, it catches so much water. The water just goes right back in this, and you kind of recycle it out. Yeah, it's your own body, dead skin, dirt, that sort of thing. Not only can you fit in Joolca's hot showers, they now have a base on here that catches the water and then recirculates it. Now, you've seen me do this in the past, and I've got a lot of comments about how gross it is. But to me, water is a limited resource out here many times, and I'm not doing too gross of things besides getting sap in my hair and a little dirt. And so if that's washing off me and coming back again to give me more pressure to wash stuff off, I'm totally fine with that. And then my last rinse, I can use clean water. So I think it's a neat invention. I'll probably show it at some point on the channel. So now into what we call the bathroom. This toilet area is the exact same as over there, even has the mesh on the sides for draining, but there are not ports for the shower. So same storage, same ripstop floor, same height, same ability to open up the window, ability to hide your silhouette, and ventilation up top. But the tent doesn't end here, it actually begins here. This has an attachment here that's going to hook on a little spot back here. Then in the front here, there's just some Velcro, and this Velcro will attach to the original pole. Some nice strong aluminum poles here. Now, I would have liked to see these aluminum poles be used where those fiberglass were, but I'll take what I can get. So you have a center pole and 2 side poles. And the side poles are what goes up first. So just like the tent, it has a nice spot to store those guy lines. I've been using the tent all summer, up, down with the trailer in Texas, with other trailers, just seeing how well it fits. And the beauty is, because the doors are so tall and so wide, it works with all the oversized teardrop doors I've used. Now the thing I haven't used is this awning. Now I've been carrying it with me everywhere, and I've been trying different awnings this summer, but I wanted to set it up in front of you guys first to see if there's any frustrations, because a lot of times I use this gear so much and then I come and use it for you and it looks like it just goes up naturally. But so far this has gone up naturally, but let's check this last section out. So in the videos, I've seen them just do this configuration to get it up quick, but it keeps us a little low. So I'll be adding this pole for you guys. These side awnings have Velcro. The Velcro is going to hook to these poles. You can either keep them down or roll them up like this and then secure it to the top here. There's some ties here as well. So you can kind of see you get this open air, but one side, let's say you have neighbors next to you and you want a little privacy, or the wind's coming that way, or the rain is blowing in. So this one, as you can see, this pole's taller than the other two. Just gonna lift this up, get it pulled out as far as you can, and we're gonna tie this guy off probably dead center here. I think it could go almost straight down, so that way nobody's tripping on it. Wow, I'm nerding out here. Like, this is literally the first time I've seen this. So let's check out the height. I can fully stand at ridgeline. Even over here, again, shoes on, I can walk through here easily. Imagine how many chairs I can put in here. Imagine putting out my beautiful outdoor carpet. Now, if I was to get nitpicky, I'd say it'd be nice if they add some bug meshing, or, you know, or a full enclosure. But in reality, that's the tent, right? This is open air. If I'm getting beat up by the bugs or I just need to tuck away, I go back in that tent. So I think this is a great design. Set up by myself, super easy. I can imagine with a couple people. This is so much faster than the awnings I've showed you guys in the videos. Poles are always falling, things are going everywhere. Because this is attached to the back of the tent, this is a one-person setup because I just pull it out and stake it in. Things aren't going different directions. I don't have to put in those dummy stakes that I told you guys about in the other videos. So let me read you the specs here quick. This inside measures 82 inches high. The weight of this altogether is 25 pounds. Packed up, it's 47 inches by 10 inches by another 10 inches. Compare this to a clam tent. This tent feels lighter, maybe even shorter. Let's get to my gripe session. So, you know, I love when there is instructions in a bag, and I didn't even need them on this one, but they're here. But my first issue is with the bag. Now the bag's a beautiful design because it expands. So not only will that tent fit in there, if you buy the rainfly or the awning, you just expand this section and it gets larger to put it in there. So it's easy to put this in and out. That's one of the things I noticed. But this isn't like a clam tent bag. I had it like a couple days and I started getting holes in it. So all summer I've been babying this. This is a really wimpy bag, so just know over time you're going to have to find a replacement. The next couple issues I have are with the zippers and then keeping out water. So the zippers, they feel pretty decent. I don't think they're YKK. They feel, maybe they are, but to me they feel a little lower than a YKK, but higher than many I've used. These do stick a lot. And this is one of those designs where if your ground isn't level, you're going to have a lot of tension on these zippers. So the easiest way to alleviate that is loosen your poles here. Don't pull them so taut when you put in the stakes. And then make sure you wax these zippers every season. The next one is, this thing is for inclement weather, but just like most side entry tents, it is water resistant, not waterproof. So when I have this off, which is how I've been using it, over time on a long rain, there will be leaks inside of it, and that's normal for pretty much every side entry tent we've used. Right off the bat, when we get a new tent like this, we will seal those seams with a waterproof sealant. You can get that at any REI, Walmart. And then if you get the rainfly or the tarp, this is definitely going to keep out that water. That's going to give you 2 layers of protection. Fiberglass instead of aluminum poles. So I've only been using this for a couple months and I already have some fiberglass chipping off. I feel like I don't share this one enough, and that's how we pack up at night. So before we go to bed every night, I take all my camp chairs and rugs and everything that's sitting outside and I essentially shove them in my side entry tent. The beauty of the triple is because it's so big, I can throw that in there and still use the bathroom and other areas, where our smaller side entries, they just get full. Now for some of you, this may be too big. Honestly, if you look at it though, the footprint isn't that big, but they do have a smaller version called the Double Ensuite. Now the last night, you guys probably know this already because you've experienced it. Murphy's Law says if you leave that tent up, it will rain either that night or in the morning, and you're going to have a wet tent to put away in the morning and then have to put it up again at home. So we take down our tent the night before, put all that extra gear in the tongue box or in the tow vehicle. A little inconvenient, but nothing beats waking up to a dry tent.
Speaking of dry tents, I recently came out with a video highlighting 9 different side entry tents and canopies that you can use at your campsite. Most of these are budget oriented, and that video can be found here on the left hand side of the screen. And on the right side, you can also find our playlist covering every side entry tent we reviewed on this channel, as well as a playlist for outdoor camp shower options. As usual, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next episode.